Hello beautiful people around the web, this is SnikkasHD and today I present you a new gameplay commentary where I review all primaries of the soldier. I hope I can help you and we see us someone else I believe, but now enjoy the gameplay and the commentary. Have fun! Okay, now let's keep this as short as we can because there are quite a lot of primary rocket launchers for the soldier. And I imply here for you to know what a soldier is and that he uses a rocket launcher to kill people with. If you don't know anything about this game and or this class, watch my previous video. So let's start with the standard rocket launcher. As for all rocket launchers, this one is the basic, the classic. The one that the creators of Quake software hijacked into this game and made it real just because they can. This is the direct translation of the original rocket launcher of Quake, which is why Valve decided to make a Quake original rocket launcher model and call it simply the original. That's kinda sad to see where Valve starts to get their ideas from, but I digress. The original and the rocket launcher are exactly the same. There's no difference in stats or damage, just the model. Some people prefer the original over the default rocket launcher because it doesn't take away that much field of view from the screen and it is displaying that the rocket comes from the middle of your screen as opposed to from the side of the screen, which can be quite a help if you want to aim better. The choice here is just personal and doesn't really rely on any other facts than your own opinion about the design. So let's finally start to explain how the default rocket launcher and every other launcher should be handled. First, you want to shoot at people's feet. This does not only guarantee a hit if you don't directly hit, it also makes it easier to aim and therefore navigate while shooting, predicting and hit multiple targets at once. This damage will always be around, I don't know, 35 to 60 damage and can be maxed up to over 100 damage per rocket if hit directly. Now if you hit directly, you deal a lot of more damage as opposed to the foot shooting stuff, but you will miss, well, quite a lot more often. That's the trait you have to keep in mind, higher accuracy or higher damage. It is always a game of chance and luck, but also your personal skill in predicting where a rocket has to go in order to hit certain walking paths of enemies or even mid-air shoot people. And by the way, if you hit enemies in the air, that's totally badass. Well, another great benefit of aiming at people's feet is that you knock them back. This opens a great variety of options for you. Just one example, there's an enemy standing up against the wall. You hit them by his feet, which sends him flying up and being pushed against a wall. He will have no chance of escaping, leaving him completely vulnerable to your neck shot. Make it count. Letting this scene roll for a couple of seconds longer, you have to shoot a second time and you will most likely hit him because your enemy is pushed up against a wall. You have simply to shoot the wall in order to shoot the target. Quite easy, isn't it? Now unfolding this shooting the wall stuff even more, you work with the splash damage, which is the aerial effect that you deal to everyone who is inside of that explosion radius. Well, not your own team, of course. With that in mind, you can literally shoot around corners. Well aimed, you can take out engine nests and such. Well, have fun exploring. So now that we have the basics out of the way, let's move forward to the black box, which is kinda reviewed in my how to play the soldier video before. So I won't go into details about that, though I toss some info at you as we're at it. The black box grants 15 HP on hit, for each enemy hit. Remember how I told you about the splash damage? Well, yeah, make use of it. You have 3 instead of 4 rockets in each chamber, which makes an initial damage overload quite hard if you need it somewhere, but with that beast you can stay alive a lot longer. So don't try to aim directly, but try to use the area around you and the enemy to just barely hit him, at least, to get the 15 HP back. So still it deals the same amount of damage as the normal rocket launcher, and if hit perfectly it can tank out any class without even the 4 rockets in the chamber. Keep that in mind. Now moving on to the next, more despised weapon for myself, the Liberty Launcher. Well, that was not that much fun as I thought it would be, but never mind. So this one is easily explained, but I just give you some thoughts here. The Liberty Launcher shoots projectiles which are 40% faster, making it way more effective on range and more agile, though it deals 25% less damage. And now take into account that the damage drop off on range plus the splash damage, which deals even less damage because of the 25% damage loss, you can imagine where this goes. Even though you can hit multiple targets within a great distance fairly easy, they will laugh at you and the damage you deal to them. You are almost certainly able to kill, of course, and it is way more easier if you are new to this and in close ranges, because you neglect the effect of predicting where to aim to make people walk, jump or fly into your rocket. This weapon leads towards to the idea to directly hit people to deal damage. So this seems to be a weapon for beginners to be recommended. You can easily hit but have a little damage drop. But you soon get out of those kinder shoes and you're not being like satisfied just hearing the ding sound if you hit someone, but being rewarded with real kills and real assists. For that you might grab one of those guns I talked about or continue the thought of hitting enemies directly. Now there's a perfect weapon for that which enhances exactly their tasks. The conveniently named direct hit. Oh god, I need to hurry up. This weapon's projectiles does not only fly 80% faster, no, they deal also 25% more damage. This seems to be great now, doesn't it? A rocket firing sniper. Yes, but with all its meaning. You literally just deal damage on hit, so if you don't hit, you obviously miss. If you hit next to him and explode next to him, you don't deal any damage, if you're lucky a little bit maybe. But now thinking of this, you have to be rather skilled to make any shots if you count and have any effect. Well, it's not that hard to hit anyone, but especially if they aren't moving. But on a plain field it can get rather hard to estimate when to shoot, where to aim and where the enemy is going to go. Especially hard it comes when the enemy is flying or jumping. But well, this is where the second part of the effect of the direct hit comes in play. It hits with an extra damage called mini crit if your target is in mid-air and you shoot it directly. This is almost like a guaranteed one-hit kill, but to accomplish that you have to be rather skilled. Especially hard it is if your target is never jumping. So in order to make use of that effect you would have to shoot at their feet again, but that perfectly that you launch them up in the air just to strike again. And to hit a second time in a row, of course. If you practice with the other rocket launchers, you just have to narrow your aim and don't spread your rockets around. Hard to perform but rewarding to complete. Just try it and find it out for yourself. Moving on to the next rocket launcher. Now we enter the spacey region of TF2, exactly that world of a crazy man's obsessed idea of a futuristic weapons design of the 50s. This is the Mangler. The Mangler shoots laser rockets, which does not differentiate from the normal rockets in terms of damage to other players, but it will only deal 20% damage to buildings like sentries, dispensers or teleporters. This weapon does not require any ammo and can infinitely be reloaded. In addition to that, it can be overloaded by right-clicking, and it fires all 4 rockets in a combined super rocket. It mini-crits, deals more damage, disables every building within the splash range, and burns all players, except for like pyros. Also it launches people over the whole map, especially hilarious on low gravity maps. This all seems to sound great and it really does, but the weapon design just doesn't appeal to me. It just won't make sense, plus it's so huge it blocks half of your screen. Trying to predict people running from right to left is freaking impossible. If you try to look at them and you're looking at them the wrong way for a second, which can often lead to miss, you will not hit anything. The overload takes like 3 seconds to charge and leaves you with no rockets left in the clip. You have to reload, which makes you vulnerable for like 4 seconds in total straight until you can shoot again. This is quite bad, especially if you don't hit. And even with the hit damage, well, it just isn't that great, to be honest. It's almost like never a one-hit KO with its 135 damage max or so, plus the burning damage, but never mind that. And you are being snared down when charging, rendering you almost completely immobile. Keep that in mind when the next spike comes around. You are dead in the blink of an eye. Now moving on to the next weapon. This is where the game becomes stupid and just throws unnecessary stuff at us to keep the content rolling. That is where we enter the realm of the beggar's bazooka. This weapon has no ammo in each clip. That's lovely. It has no ammo. You have to reload in order to shoot. And you have to shoot all rockets you stored in it. Lovely, isn't it? Just imagine this. There is someone and you want to shoot. But now you have to reload, the target flees and you are left with the rockets in your chamber, which you have to shoot somewhere to prevent an overloading and self-inflict an explosion damage. You can load up to 3 rockets in one clip, if more you explode. You don't lose any rockets, but you self-inflict damage and that sucks. And you have to release all rockets at once, which is like this. But if you do it, they will like spread out randomly over your whole field of view and you are not quite as much in control of your aim as you usually are. You can wreck a sentry nest in no time, but there's no other use to this. Don't use this weapon. No one uses it. It sucks. And I'm not speaking of MVM here. This is one of the best weapons for MVM. Because you can upgrade its reload speed, but never mind. In addition to that, you can not refill your ammo by standing next to dispensers. You have to pick up ammo kits, which sucks if you're locked down, especially blows for MVM, but well, there's a way around that by upgrading your more ammo, for instance. But since you won't use it anyways, just leave talking about it there altogether. Now we have reached the last weapon finally, the Rocket Jumper. Just be quick about that. Rocket Jumper deals no damage, well, not to yourself and not to anyone, but you have 200% more ammo. This weapon is designed to learn how to rocket jump safely without blowing up yourself in like no time if done wrong. And if you don't know what a rocket jump is or how they are or how you do them, check out Star's rocket jumping guide. I'll leave a link in the comment section below and the description box below, thank you. Now I just want to underline why you need to learn how to intuitively use rocket jumps and combine them dynamically with your attacks as well to make yourself the ultimate weapon of destruction. See, you want to hit people's feet. But if you are both on a flat surface, you could have used the direct hit instead anyway, so you don't need to be on a higher level, literally. Believe it or not, but the direct hit, which is like the hardest weapon to rocket jump with, absolutely needs to be rocket jumped with to hit your targets on their heads. The perfect angle to shoot is about 45 degrees downwards or 135 degrees for those who really need to just stimulate their imagination. On that angle, your target has the slowest relative movement on the field to you, which makes it way more easier to hit if you are skilled in rocket jumping. You have a mere 1 to 2 seconds once you launch yourself in the air, which is about 1 to 2 rockets as well. But those are essential to you and to your damage. Just watch through the gameplay again and just to see what I mean, and watch my other video about how to play a soldier. I'll link it in the end. Okay, this should be about it, covering all the essential info you need to know to master the primary and therefore most importantly best way of dealing damage and being successful in the game, the rocket launchers. I surely hope that you enjoyed this gameplay and this commentary as much as I did. I'm glad if I was able to help someone out in the understanding of this game even more, and yeah, just make a difference for you to your advantage, of course. Now I release you with this new impression and knowledge as I give you the option to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, to stay up for more reviews, like my video to get it spread out in the open, and comment on it to clear out questions or suggestions you might have and just discuss stuff. Thanks for watching, people, and as always, keep it up. To flee an unfair gunfight on your side is often the best thing to do. That's where the gunboots come in. The gunboots absorb 60% of your self-inflicted damage from your rocket launchers, regardless if you have the black box or something different. However,